January 16th, 1935. Ocklawaha, Florida, 7 a.m. The house shook. Gunshots flew through the walls. Glass shattered. Smoke filled the air. Inside, two people hid behind the bed. One was a woman. Old. Calm. The other? Her son. A killer. Sirens screamed. The morning light was gray. Neighbors crouched in fear. No one dared move. She didn't cry. She didn't run. She loaded her gun and waited. Who was this woman? Why did the FBI call her the most dangerous mother in America? How did she raise a house full of gangsters? This isn't fiction. This is real. You can check every word. Subscribe to Unbelievable True Story, because monsters don't live in movies. They live in quiet houses. And the next story could be yours. She was born as Arizona Donnie Clark, but the world would know her as Ma Barker. It was 1873. Ash Grove, Missouri. The world was quiet back then. Horses, wood stoves, big families. She was just a poor girl, one of many kids. No crime, no danger, just dust and farm work. She grew up fast. She married George Barker when she was still young. They had 4 sons, Herman, Lloyd, Arthur, and Fred. Ma loved her boys more than anything. She called them her babies. She fed them, dressed them, protected them. But something changed. As the boys grew up, they turned dark. They stole cars, robbed banks, killed cops. And Ma, she didn't stop them, she helped them. The newspapers didn't know what to call her. Some said she was just a poor mom. Others said she was the mind behind it all, the criminal queen. She moved with her boys, state to state, town to town. Wherever they ran, Ma came too, and no one suspected her. She wore old dresses. She smiled like a grandma. She baked pies, went to church, kept quiet. But at night, she helped plan robberies. She hid guns in laundry baskets. She watched maps and told them where to go next. One FBI agent later said, she wasn't just their mother, she was their leader. Ma didn't shoot, but she made sure her boys did. She called banks honeypots. She told them, go get the honey boys, and they did, with Tommy guns. But why? Why would a mother do this? Was it money? Was it love? Or did she love power more than anything? We still don't know. What we do know is this. By the 1930s, the Barker gang was one of the most feared in America, and Ma Barker, the sweet, smiling mother, was at the center of it all. It started small, just broken windows, stolen tires, a wallet taken from a stranger's coat. But it didn't stop. Herman, the oldest, was the first to go too far. He robbed a bank in Kansas City. He was only a teenager. Ma didn't scold him. She said, good boys take what they need. Next was Lloyd. He got caught stealing mail, a federal crime. He went to prison in Leavenworth. Ma brought him food, smiled during visits. She told the guards, my boy is good. He just made a mistake. Then Arthur Barker. He was wild, mean. He beat a man during a robbery, left him for dead. Did prison time too. And then came Fred, the youngest, Ma's favorite. She called him Freddie. He was quiet, soft-spoken, but inside, he was the coldest of them all. Fred started robbing banks with his big brothers. He liked the guns, the money. He liked how people screamed. But most of all, he liked doing it with Ma nearby. Ma always came. She stayed in hotels with them, cooked their meals, cleaned their bloody clothes. They laughed like a family, but they were planning death. By 1931, the Barker boys were no longer boys. They were wanted men. Robbery, murder, kidnapping. They joined forces with another gangster, Alvin Karpis. He was smart, fast. Together they became the Barker-Karpis gang. The FBI called them armed and dangerous, shoot on sight. They used machine guns. They wore masks. They took hostages. One man they kidnapped was Edward Bremer, a banker, rich, important. They held him for ransom, $200,000. Bremer's family paid. They let him go. But the damage was done. Now the FBI knew for sure this gang wasn't just street thugs. They were organized, ruthless, and someone was helping them stay hidden. But who? The answer was shocking. It was Ma Barker. Not a man, not a mob boss, not a cold-eyed killer in a hat, a mother with wrinkled hands and a shotgun in her lap. It started small, just broken windows, stolen tires, a wallet taken from a stranger's coat. Small things, little crimes. But the boys didn't stop. They never stopped. Herman, the oldest, was the first to go too far. He robbed a bank in Kansas City. He was only a teenager, just a boy, but he held a gun like a man. He shouted like a soldier. The people screamed. The teller gave up the money. Herman ran. He was fast, full of fire. He came home with a bag full of bills. Ma didn't scold him. She didn't cry. She smiled. She said, "Good boys take what they need." She kissed his head and cooked his favorite meal. She told him he was brave, and Herman believed her. Next came Lloyd. He didn't rob banks. He stole mail, big sacks full of letters. Some had checks, some had cash. It was a federal crime. The police caught him fast. They locked him away in Leavenworth Prison, a cold gray place with thick bars and heavy locks. But Ma came to visit. She brought him food, pie, warm bread. She smiled through the glass. She told the guards, "My boy is good. He just made a mistake." She believed it. Or maybe she didn't. Maybe she liked the power. Arthur Barker was next. They called him Doc, but he was no doctor. He was wild, mean. He got into fights, big ones. One day he robbed a store. It went bad. He beat a man until he stopped moving, left him for dead. He was caught. He did time too. But Ma visited him like the others. She always came, always smiled. She told people, "They're just misunderstood." But behind her eyes, something darker grew. Then came Fred, the youngest, Ma's favorite. She called him Freddie. He was quiet, soft-spoken. He liked music. He liked books. But inside, Fred was different, colder. He didn't care about pain. He liked guns. He liked fast cars. He liked the way people screamed. He started robbing banks with his big brothers. He carried a Tommy gun. He looked calm, focused. Some say he even smiled during the robberies. But Fred wasn't alone. Ma was always nearby. She stayed in the hotels, cooked their meals, cleaned their bloody clothes, bandaged their wounds. She laughed with them, like they were just a normal family. But they weren't. They were planning death. By 1931, the Barker boys were no longer boys. They were wanted men, robbery, murder, kidnapping. The police were chasing them. But the Barkers were fast, and they were smart. They joined forces with another gangster. His name was Alvin Karpis. He was sharp, quick, dangerous. The newspapers called him Creepy Karpis. He had cold eyes, never smiled. Together, they became the Barker Karpis gang, and they were unstoppable. They robbed banks from Chicago to St. Paul. They shot anyone who got in the way. They wore masks, used fake names, changed cars often, and Ma was there for it all. Not just watching, helping. She booked the rooms. She watched the doors. She handled the cash. She gave the orders. And when someone talked too much, Ma knew what to do. The gang became bolder. They kidnapped William Ham. He was a rich man, a brewery owner. They took him from the street, threw him in a car. They held him for ransom, $100,000. The family paid. They let Ham go. The gang disappeared. The FBI was furious, but they had no leads. The Barkers were ghosts. Then, they took someone even bigger, Edward Bremer. He was a banker. He knew the president. This time, the world noticed. The ransom was $200,000. Bremer's family paid. He was released, alive, but scared. He told the FBI, these men were animals, cold, silent, violent. And someone else was with them, someone who gave them food, someone who cleaned their wounds, someone who acted like their mother, because she was. Ma Barker. Not a man, not a mob boss, not a cold-eyed killer in a fedora. A mother, with wrinkled hands and a shotgun in her lap. She planned the heists. She cooked the meals. She sang lullabies in safe houses and told her boys, Don't let them take you alive. A mother? A mastermind? They watched, waited. They tracked letters, spied on hotels. They asked questions in every city. And slowly, the net closed. Ma didn't run. She stayed with Fred. They were in a house in Florida, Ocklawaha, peaceful, quiet, but not for long. 1934, Florida. It was hot, quiet. The kind of place where people go to hide. Ma Barker and Fred found a house near a lake. It was small, calm. No one asked questions. The perfect place for a wanted family. They told the neighbors their names were Kate and Freddie Clark. Just a mother and her son on vacation. Ma baked pies. Fred went fishing. But inside the house, they had guns under the floorboards, a radio to listen to police talk, and a suitcase with thousands of stolen dollars. They didn't go to town much. They didn't trust anyone. Ma was careful. She watched out the windows. She kept the curtains closed. Fred sharpened knives, cleaned his guns, waited for orders. They thought they were safe. But the FBI was close, very close. They had tracked the ransom money. They had followed the letters. They found out about Kate and Freddie Clark. And they came. January 16th, 1935. Early morning. Federal agents surrounded the house. They had rifles, bulletproof vests, and a warning. They shouted, "Come out with your hands up!" Nothing. Silence. Then, gunshots. A storm of bullets filled the air. Glass shattered. Walls cracked. Smoke poured out of the windows. The gunfire lasted for 4 hours. Inside the house, Ma and Fred. Fred shot from the back room. Ma stayed with him. Some say she had a gun, too. Some say she never fired a shot. We may never know. But when it was over, they were dead. The house was filled with smoke. Blood on the floor. Silence everywhere. Fred lay on the ground. His gun beside him. Ma was nearby. Face still. Eyes open. The smoke was still in the air. The walls were broken. The curtains burned. FBI agents stepped inside. Guns raised. Careful. Slow. They didn't know if anyone else was hiding. But the house was quiet now. Too quiet. And then they saw her. Ma Barker. Dead. Lying near the bed, still in her dress, still holding her son. Fred was beside her, blood on his chest. His last bullet had missed, but the FBI's had not. The room was full of secrets, guns, maps, fake names written on paper. One box had clippings from newspapers, stories about the gang, about the killings, about the money. They found photos. Ma smiling with her boys, like any proud mother, except this mother raised killers. The press went wild. Ma Barker, the most dangerous woman in America. The gun-toting grandma of crime. The mother who built a gang. People were shocked. How could a little old woman lead so many killers? Some believed it. They said Ma gave the orders, that she told Fred who to rob, who to hurt, who to kill. The FBI said she was the brains, she was the heart of the Barker gang. But others said no. Ma didn't plan anything. She just followed her boys, loved them, protected them. Was she a leader or just a mother in the wrong place? The truth may be somewhere in between. But one thing was clear. She died with her son. She never left his side. Not when the money came, not when the bullets did. Years passed. The world changed. But that little house by the lake stayed the same. People whispered about it. They called it the House of Death. Tourists came to see it, to stand in the spot where Ma Barker died, to see the bullet holes in the walls, to feel the chill in the air. Some said they heard footsteps inside. Others swore they saw a woman in the window, old, still, watching. Locals didn't go near it at night. They said the house was cursed, that it held secrets, that Ma never really left. In 2016, something strange happened. The town of Ocklawaha, Florida, wanted to move the house, tear it down, or send it to a museum. But when workers came, they said their tools broke, that the ground shook, that the air turned cold. One man quit. He said, "Something's in that house, and it doesn't want to go." The house was finally moved, but the stories didn't stop. People still ask, did Ma Barker shoot back? Was she really the leader? Or just a mother who loved her boys too much? This is not fiction. This is real. Ma Barker lived, she died, and she became a legend. But the truth? It's still hiding in the walls of that house. And some nights, you can still hear her name in the wind. Ma Barker, the mother, the gangster, the ghost. February 1935, Ocklawaha, Florida. The house where Ma Barker and Fred died was gone, but the mystery still lingered. What really happened that night? Did Ma help her sons kill, or was she simply in the wrong place at the wrong time? Was she a criminal mastermind, or just a mother who couldn't let go of her boys? Some say she was the leader. Others say she was just along for the ride. The truth is, we may never know. The FBI couldn't prove it, and no one ever asked Fred. But the questions never stopped. Why didn't anyone stop the Barker gang sooner? How could one family bring so much chaos to the country? What if Ma Barker had never been born? And there's still one last chilling question. What if Ma Barker's legend isn't over? Some say she still watches, still haunts that house, still whispers her name in the wind, still controls the legacy of the Barker gang. But maybe, just maybe, the real horror of Ma Barker lies not in what she did, but in the way she turned a family of thieves into one of America's most feared criminal gangs. Have you ever heard of Ma Barker before? What do you think really happened that night? Was she the mastermind or just a mother? Could someone like her be hiding in plain sight today? This is a real story. You can check every fact, every detail. If you're drawn to real stories that stay with you, subscribe now to Unbelievable True Story, because the next story we reveal might hit even closer to home. Watch the next video on your screen or dive into our full playlist of real mysteries and crimes. The next story might be even more shocking.